going. The doctor is in. We're waiting. It's taking a long time to connect today. The doctor is in, and I am here live at the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium, which is an annual meeting. I think there are about 11,000 people in San Antonio this week talking about breast cancer. So we are here live, and I'm here with my friends, my besties.
That's right.
And so, so Dr. Mo's not going to join us today, but I have my lifesaver, Haley Dinnerman from the Triple Negative Breast Cancer Foundation. I have my first triple negative friend, Melissa Davis. I mean, Melissa Big.
Okay.
Melissa Big. Tell me.
It's been a long day.
Who is our AACR wonderful, wonderful person. And we're so glad to be here and talk about it. So you guys, someone's trying to get in here. I'm not sure who that is, but oh well. I don't know. So we're here. So we are here. We're here to talk about breast cancer. We're here with so many scientists, and you guys have been doing interviews for the last 3 days, 2 days, right?
It feels like 3 days.
It's only 2 days. There's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a lot of science. And you know, guys, I have talked to so many of the people about triple negative breast cancer. So we're all like sitting down, meeting with our pharmaceutical partners, meeting with our friends, meeting with other advocates, and hearing so much about the latest science for all breast cancer, but really about a lot about triple negative breast cancer. So we're going to talk about what we know so far. I mean, the conference we just started yesterday. We've been here since Monday. So we have just a few updates that we've learned in the past day and a half or so. And then we'll do this again. At the end of the week, we'll either record or do a show on Sunday to give you the sort of full week perspective on what's going on here. But we're learning so much, and it's really just a great week here. It's great to be here.
It's really great to connect with so many researchers and so many advocates. And you kind of, Melissa and I have been collecting questions from our community, from our triple negative community specifically, and trying to get those questions answered, right? The thing is, though, it is still really the first real scientific day of the conference.
It is, yeah.
So, there isn't as much information as we're going to have at the end of the week, but we still have some.
We still have some, I know. So anybody want to talk about what they've learned yet?
I can kind of start off.
Go for it.
Love
You're
that.
the science.
She's
know,
our
first of
science
all,
queen.
tell everybody what AACR is and AACR does.
So AACR is an amazing organization. We are a membership organization as well as a foundation. We have over 58,000 members that include researchers, clinicians, and patient advocates. And what's really great is the work we've been able to do with Touch and with TNBCF and with Cancer Fashionista, and just, really advance not only our mission, but their mission as well, and really collaborate well. So one of the things I was able to learn yesterday was about palliative care and the misconceptions of palliative care. When you think of palliative care, you think
great session
of hospice and just end of life, but it's pain management. And it's pain management in so many different ways. And so many people in these communities need that pain management, and just how different organizations can remove the stigma of palliative care. And I thought that was one of the most interesting things ever, is because I only thought of it as end of life care.
And when they called it supportive care,
yes,
that really changed, my perspective on it. And then the doctors that were speaking to it, the panelists were amazing. And some of them were talking about the fact that they have, prescribed more treatments for people in palliative care than beforehand.
Yes.
Which is something I never knew. Right. And I think that that's really it, because a lot of people are afraid to go into, palliative care because they think that's when treatment stops.
Sort of like clinical trials. Like I used to think, oh, that was the last resort. Quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite. Yeah. No, and when you talked about pain management, it's really side effect management. You know what I mean? How to manage your side effects and emotional pain and physical pain. So, as your cancer starts to progress, especially if you're metastatic, pain could set in, but it's really to help you manage any kind of impact from the drugs that you're taking, which is a great place to be. And, we recommend palliative care for stage 0, for stage 1. because
yeah.
you don't have to be sick at all. I mean, you have to be metastatic to get it, but also just to help you deal with the emotional things of getting your hair falling, or just even having cancer and dealing with
Yeah.
cancer. They can give you, you know, psychological help, all kinds of mental health help, all kinds of help, and they kind of triage for what you need. It's kind of like a little bit like navigation, because we were sitting there thinking,
Yes.
you know, we've been talking so much about navigation. If you guys saw our event on Monday, it's on our Facebook Live on our touch page, but navigation kind of is a little bit similar, but I think palliative care, those doctors can actually give you drugs.
And the thing about it was, you know, you just touched on it a second ago when you said they can help you manage your side effects. A lot of people have to quit treatment because of the side effects.
Right.
So by getting
Right,
palliative
right.
care and being able to treat your side effects, you could stay on your treatment for longer.
For longer, yes, for longer, and feel and have a better quality of life.
Yes.
You know, I used to hate the words quality of life, 'cause what does that mean? That sounds so horrible. Sounds like, what do you mean quality of life?
It's
Like,
kind of just
yeah.
scratch the surface, right? Because if we
Mhm.
get deeper, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, am I eating well? Am I able to exercise? Can
Right.
I pay my electric bill? Like,
Right. Can I take care of my kids? Can I go to
Exactly.
the soccer game?
Mhm.
And even that's what we think about when we think about side effects.
Yep.
I think about, what does that
Mhm.
limit me from
because it is a
doing?
byproduct of
Right,
having a disease
right,
like breast cancer.
right,
It could be
right.
completely
Right.
debilitating, not just physically, but on your family, on your
Yeah.
finances,
Right.
on your entire life.
Right. Right, right,
And I
right.
think between what I learned in the palliative care panel and at your event about navigation, I mean, there's
Mm.
just so much support that's out there that people aren't accessing.
Yeah.
And it's such a shame because it can change your whole experience. I know Melissa hates the word breast cancer journey, and I get that.
I do
breast
too.
breast cancer experience, like
Yes.
everyone's experience can
Yes.
be improved so
Yes.
much
Yes.
if we just take advantage of the
What
resources
there is
that
to
are out
offer,
there.
I know, but people don't necessarily know them, and a lot of cancer centers don't have navigators. A lot of doctors do, but even when they have navigators, they don't really tell people about them
Well,
necessarily.
do you remember
right?
that you had one
Oh.
panelist
Right,
who said that she was a nurse
right.
in the hospital
And she didn't
Right.
know.
and she did not
Shouldn't
know
right?
that there was a navigator in her own
Right,
hospital.
Rosa. I know
Yes.
Rosa actually, she's actually, I guess she's a nurse and she's getting her master's now in nursing. But yeah, she's been a nurse for 5 years. She didn't know.
But that just goes to show that if she doesn't know.
Right,
many
right,
others
right,
don't
Right,
know.
others
the
don't. That's
general
why we need to
population.
educate.
And
Right.
I have to say, you know, patient navigation, I thought that was basically like, help me get through some insurance claims. I had no idea that it has to do with nutrition and lifestyle
Mhm.
Right.
and like, you know, of getting any kind of financial support. It's like the whole picture.
Yeah, the whole picture. And you know, you guys, our navigator program is really the best. It's the best.
Sounds incredible.
There's nothing like it. I have to say that. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased. But our navigators are 24/7.
That's
So think
incredible.
about what you worried about
Mhm.
at midnight.
Mm.
Think about what you worried about at 5 o'clock in the morning.
And that's when the worries happen the
Right,
worst.
Mhm.
but you wake
When
up
your
at
mind is
You're
4 or
alone
5
with
in
your
the
And
morning.
you start Googling and you start going on Facebook
Right.
groups and then suddenly you're panicked and you cannot speak to your doctor.
You can't speak to a doctor, so we're there. We're
That's
there,
incredible.
Val is there, and Dean is there, and
That's
our
amazing.
team, they're awesome. And not only are they there, but they're also blesties.
Mm.
They
you
really
know,
get it.
They get it.
They get
You
it.
know, Val and Dean, they're both 25-year survivors. They get it. They understand what you're dealing with. They understand what you're feeling. And they're Black women, so they are people that are just like you. And so like us, and we just, you know, are there for you. And so even when the cancer center closes, and I hate that thing when you call the doctor's office. If this is an emergency, call
the worst.
911.
It's like
I
define emergency.
Oh my God, I hate that. I hate
I'm
it.
terrified. So it's
Yeah,
an emergency.
yeah.
Exactly,
And the
exactly.
ambulance won't help.
Right, I know, right? So we don't have to hear that. You get a live person, no matter what time it is. If Val's doesn't answer the phone, we have a nurse that answers the phone and kind of talks you through about what you need, and she finds Val
It's
or
amazing.
Dean.
Amazing.
And
And the
finds,
fact that they're 25-year survivors, I mean,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
yes,
sometimes you need to talk to someone who's been through it and come out the other side.
and can give you
Right.
hope.
Exactly.
can give
It's
you
all
hope.
about that.
It's all
Yes.
about the
Yeah,
hope that we
it
give.
is.
And so, and also they work really hard to find resources for you.
Mhm.
So, you know, we have this network of blesties called Belongs. We have women all over the country. I think we're now in 30 states. We're trying to be in 50. So we can call them and say, you know what? We need a yoga class in Denver.
Mm.
We need to find, where's the nearest Whole Foods in whatever, in Chicago, on this side of Chicago. And so Val has all her fingertips in all of these communities, so she can find stuff for people and what you need. And we're gonna find it
It's
for you.
amazing.
So she's better than Google.
Yes.
You don't have to convince me of that, I
I
know.
know.
Google with a personal touch.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
great.
And she's
I love
fast and she
that.
gets it right to you. So yeah, so we talked about navigation, we talked about palliative care.
Mhm.
That was a great event by Gilead. And then what was the event that we went to last night where it was freezing, Melissa? Remember
Yes,
that?
but it was focused that there was a panel discussion on integrative care, which is so
Yes.
important.
Yes.
So
yes.
important. You know, we hear about it all the time, like, you know, movement, nutrition, it really does. I mean, there's data to prove it really makes a difference, especially when you're going through treatment to, you know, eat a healthy diet and to move as much as you can to, you know, get the best outcome.
Yeah, it really is great. And, you know, we partner with Unite for Her.
I love Unite
Mhm.
for Her.
We
Such a
love
great
Sue Weldon so
organization.
much. We should have brought her on the show. We'll bring her on the next one.
Yes.
But Sue has provided, you know, Sue and I kind of married with our care, you know, to give this integrative care plus navigation program. And so, but it was really great to hear how important it is to move your body, to take care of all these things that the doctors don't really address, but just take care of yourself and you'll have better outcomes. So that was a really good session.
Yeah.
But I've probably now sat in probably 7 meetings with pharma companies,
Mhm.
and we can't give any specifics about the new drugs because they're embargoed this
Right.
week. What does that mean? That means that they have posters. So they basically are presenting their work of what the trials are doing at this conference,
Mhm.
and they literally cannot talk about them until the poster is presented.
Right. It has to be like the official presentation
Yes.
and
And
then
then
we
the
can talk
abstracts will
about
be
it.
Right, and so that's happening for the rest of the week.
Mhm.
But I've been in 7 meetings where there are triple negative drugs in
Yes.
trial.
I was so encouraged, new immunotherapies, new, you know, just diagnostic tools, so many different things that are going to be there specifically for the triple negative community, which,
Yeah,
you know,
so exciting.
it's
new trials,
really
I'm sure, too.
exciting.
That's
Yes,
very
new
exciting.
trials that are
trials.
going to be recruiting in the beginning of next
Right,
year.
right, right.
And some brilliant minds behind this research.
Yes.
Like I was shocked.
I was
by-
shocked, you know, because you
yes.
know what, the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a little dry for us.
Yeah.
It's been a little dry for TNBC drugs, you know, I guess 3 years ago was and HER2 and a lot of HER2 drugs, which is great. We love all of our breast cancer
Of course.
blessings. We love all of our sisters. And we had a lot of HER2 advances, but you know, triple negative is now finally kind of on the table. And people are really caring about it and looking at it. And so some of the trials, most of them are for metastatic TNBC, because that's usually where they start. They start with the harder disease and then work backwards to make the trial work for earlier stage. But I had
There are
2,
two, right?
yes,
Two for
2 early
an
stage.
early stage, which is
So
amazing.
exciting. Yeah.
It's gonna be so incredible.
Yeah, so I know we
That's
now
great.
only have 2 therapies that are proven for TNBC, you know, Keytruda and Trodelvy.
Mm.
So now we see so much, and there's so much more just interest in our disease, and people are starting to recognize, okay, we need some special stuff for this stuff. I did hear something about quadruple negative breast cancer.
Mhm.
I tried not to hear it, but I did hear it too.
I've never heard of it.
So it's basically triple negative plus some kind of enzyme or protein or biomarker that now we're seeing.
Hmm.
And so don't know a lot about it, but God
It's
only
again, like another
another
breast
advan-
cancer that's
Another.
defined by what it's not, as
Right,
opposed to what it is.
Right, right. So, but that means that they're looking at these cells and they're saying, okay, what's different about these cells? And they found another biomarker that basically is seen now. And so that's another way to add treatment.
Can you explain what a
options.
biomarker is
Yes,
for
go
someone
for
who
it.
doesn't?
Yes, can you
know?
explain that?
That's a Morgan. thing.
I
That's a
know.
Morgan. That's a
I'm
science-
I'm not the scientist. I'm not the
Yeah.
scientist. I don't want to misspeak on behalf of AACR, but I know when it comes to breast cancer in particular, these.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're
My
distracted by
Christmas
holiday.
nails, that biomarkers are a way to determine your breast cancer and your type of cancer. And we look at biomarkers, especially nowadays, in various ways that we
Right.
didn't before. Especially, I will say, what I'm learning is that we're looking at them differently in women of color versus how we may have looked at them before.
Yeah, and we're looking at them in metastatic,
Yes.
so it's kind of dictating treatment. You know how I kind of describe them? As freckles. They're like freckles on a cell.
Yeah.
It really is the biology of your
Mhm.
cancer cell.
Yeah.
So we're looking at your body biology, but we're looking at the specific biology of a cell. And every cell has little markers all over it, freckles, but they all represent
Something different.
like
yeah.
a protein, an enzyme or something. And the more, you know, and we're now, I actually saw one of the posters for our friend from one of our in our Soundbite project.
Mhm.
Her name is Dr. Sheba Urshad.
Yes.
Urshad, and she's in London, but she showed me a picture of two triple negative cells on a microscope. And one was a black cell for TNBC, one was a white TNBC cell, and the pictures look totally different.
Isn't
I
that
mean,
crazy?
Isn't that
It's
so
something
crazy?
that I know you've suspected this.
Yes.
For years.
I've said it for years.
And Lisa Newman, one of our scientific
Yes,
advisors
yes,
and
yours,
Touch's
yes, yes,
scientific
yes.
advisor too, also, suspected this for a very
Right,
long
long
time,
time.
but to see it like,
Real on a
hard
microscope,
evidence
yeah,
is
and I am not a
amazing.
scientist, I don't understand that stuff, but I saw a picture of it, and the white cell had these little clusters of biomarkers,
Mhm.
things around the cell. The black one, the spots were all over.
Mm.
So when you're thinking about a drug that needs to fix these,
How can it fix both?
how can it fix both?
And this is how we personalize treatment going
Yes.
forward. They're
Yes.
real, the first step is always to recognize
Yes,
what the differences are, what the problems are.
Yes.
That is why it's so important for clinical trials to be diversified so
Right.
that we can really test a
right,
drug
The-
on different bodies.
on different bodies,
right?
on different
Also,
bodies.
we
it's
can
age,
personalize.
too. Like I spoke
Yes.
with YSC today, and they are
Oh,
doing an
yes.
incredible study on young breast cancer and how different the approach needs to be. So it's what
Mhm.
I love, what's interesting about the conference this year that I found to be different. There are so many advocacy groups that are actually bringing data, like you are, to the
Yeah, to the
medical
conference,
community.
yeah.
So I think it's really an interesting twist.
Yeah, yeah. So YSC is Young Survival Coalition, and we partner with them a lot, but they're doing a global study
Mhm.
all over the world. of-
528.
Yeah, 528
Yep.
study of young women, because so many young women are getting breast cancer now. The numbers are crazy. And so despite the races, but it's really hitting Black women hard.
Absolutely.
But I think just the more knowledge we have about the science, it's just really, really great to see. And, I was in our Uber this morning over here to the convention center. The guy said, my best friend, 51, died of cancer last week or a couple weeks ago. My aunt died of 3 months ago. We had like probably 6 people in his family that have died in the last year of cancer. And our friends and family, and he said, is there ever going to be a cure? And, with me and Val in the car, we're like, I don't know. I mean, I think could we all put ourselves out of a job? Hello, that's what I would love to do.
Would love to.
Can we all just quit
Absolutely.
tomorrow and be done?
Yeah.
But I said, here we are in this mecca with all these brains in this one building, thinking about cancer. Like, why can't we cure it? Like, what is it that's keeping us from curing it? And
It's not one thing.
it's not one thing.
That's the problem. People
Yeah.
think of it as,
One thing, one disease.
one thing. It's not like a
Mhm.
broken femur. There's
No.
only one way to fix that, right? They're just completely different diseases, even within breast cancer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I remember being shocked when I heard that breast cancer was more than one disease.
right.
When
Absolutely.
when
Yeah.
Nancy
Yeah, when I was
diagnosed,
diagnosed, and that, yeah. who
exactly.
knew?
I just thought breast cancer was breast cancer. I mean, that's bad enough. Like
That's
there are
bad
different
enough,
kinds
right,
of breast cancer,
right,
and some are worse.
Right,
So, but
yeah, but I
it
think
takes knowing that to get on the path of fixing
of
it.
fixing it. And I think also, cancer is really smart.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
you think about, all these brains working on this, but cancer basically outsmarts the treatments after so much time.
It evolves and it unfortunately
It
develops.
morphs, right?
It morphs and it continues to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's why the work you all do is so important, and the support you do for early investigators and our researchers is the utmost importance, because you give them the other side of the bench.
Yeah,
You remind them that on that other side, once you get out of that silo, there's someone. There's
there's
a
a person, there's a
And
life, there's a family,
th-
there's a
And that
community.
reminder
Yeah.
can help them a lot of times
Yeah.
even go further, because they
Yeah.
see that. They
Yeah.
see their mom, their aunt, their dad,
Yeah,
you know, their sister, their whomever, they see it. And
Yeah.
so I think that's why the work you all do as not only patient advocates, but as these organizations is so important, in
Yeah.
addition to the AACRs of the world, because you
Right.
make it go further. Because they can outsmart it eventually, hopefully,
right,
but they can't do it without the support that you've provided.
yeah,
Thank you.
Thank
And
you
they-
for
and they
that.
do amazing work. I mean,
they do.
yesterday's panel, did you guys notice that two of the doctors who were speaking both lost their mothers
Right,
to
Yes,
breast
right,
cancer?
right.
One
Yes.
at 7 and one at, when he was
Mhm.
7 and one when he was 13. And that's what set them on
This
the
path,
path to
yeah,
become researchers. And I
Mhm.
thought, so often we think of like, oh, the pharmaceutical companies, what are they actually doing for breast cancer? And, when you see the faces behind the research, the
Yeah.
people, and what motivates them to do what they're doing, they're people with stories.
Yeah.
they
and
are, yeah,
who also just were set on this path because just like all of us, came to this from,
from
sometimes a place of
love.
pain or
From
love.
pain or love, yeah.
Yeah.
I know I have on my love sweater today.
I
too.
love your love
Uh-huh.
story.
I love my love
That's
shoes.
great.
But it is about love, and even, today I was talking to a couple of pharma companies about clinical trials and helping them recruit Black women for the trials.
Mm.
And I said to them, a clinical trial to a patient isn't about the science. They don't really want to hear about the molecules. They don't want to hear about, they just tell me what I need to do, where I need to be, where I'm gonna get the shot.
Mhm.
But also, it's about, I'm thinking about, I want to make it to my kid's graduation from college, which is
Yep.
that's what got me, kept me
Mhm.
going. Watching you getting to Haley's graduation. They're thinking about another birthday, another grandbaby
Mhm.
being born, another sunrise, another vacation with their family. And so that's what we try to bring the love to this
Yeah.
conversation, because it is about love. So,
That's good.
It was good. It's been great so far, even though we're waiting to hear more about the
Yeah,
science.
yeah.
One of the things that I love about this is connecting with other advocates
Yes.
Mhm.
and hearing what they're doing.
Yes.
We just interviewed an incredible person from ABCD.
And we
African
love them.
Breast cancer diagnosis.
Oh my
I'm excited.
God.
I meet with them tomorrow. So
I'm
I'm
excited.
excited.
I think so
Fantastic
great.
group.
They call themselves the Tinder of breast cancer.
Ah,
I love it because they connect
They
you with
connect.
a mentor that can help
I
you
love that.
through your treatment. It's amazing. It's
Well,
really
there's nothing
amazing.
better. I mean, look, Ricky and I bonded tremendously, and it's just so important, despite the science and the treatment, like you need a good support to get you through. And
Yeah, we need
sometimes
a sister.
as amazing as your friends and family could be, if they have not walked the walk. So that's why it's so important that we have each other to lean on. And if you're not, plugged into conferences and so, you don't need to be, because we have these groups that can help you
Mhm.
plug in.
I will say that's the one pattern I've seen thus far, even more so I feel like this year than I did last year. When I meet with groups, I try to see how we can best partner and collaborate and how can we advance each other's mission. And every single group I've met with has just been so encouraging and so ready to work with others. And
Yeah.
so ready to bring all this information back to their advocates so that they learn what's going on. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, and they're also one of the things I'm noticing, like the pattern of the whole person.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not
Not
just
the cancer
the
cells.
cancer. I met
Right,
with
we're
you
not just
night for
throwing a
her.
bomb
Right,
at
right,
the
right.
cancer.
It's
Right.
it's like, okay, I
Right.
can navigate you through the insurance. I can navigate you through whatever doctors we
Right.
may can recommend.
Right.
But
right,
how do I get you your acupuncture? How do I help with your groceries?
Right.
How do I help you as a whole? And that includes your family. I mean, like
Right.
having support systems for caregivers.
Yeah.
Things like that. And that's what
Right.
these patient advocate groups are really taking the lead on,
Yeah.
which has been amazing because pharma and us researchers, we can't do that,
Right.
but there are groups that can
That can.
and can do it really, really well.
Well, what's our mantra? No one
No
fights
one
alone.
fights alone.
Mhm.
No one fights alone.
And I
And
feel, and
yeah.
it's not just it's not just our mantra. I really
Right.
feel like
It's
all
our-
these groups
it's our
together, it's all of
ecosystem.
us against cancer.
I
Yeah,
feel like we're
That's
all in
how-
this giant sandbox.
It's a
playing
collective.
very
Yeah.
well.
Playing very well
Playing
together.
very
You
well.
know, I think maybe because most of us are women. And, you know, it's a women's disease. It really, I mean, men can get it too.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think we just tend to take care of each other better, you know?
Mhm.
But I went into the advocacy lens. We have a lounge here
Mm.
where all the advocates can go and they have food for us and
Yeah.
it's like a,
You can watch the sessions.
you can
Yeah.
watch like sessions
It's
with
great.
each other. And, you know, because these sessions are pretty deep, like that science is way above my pay grade. But we're around people that can help translate it for you and just hang out there and they're taking care of us, you know, you can rest for a minute, get some good food. And I went in there with one of my pharma partners because we couldn't find a place to have a meeting
Okay.
and they would not let us in. They would not let her in. Well, Ricky can come in, but you can't come in
Wow.
because they were so protective of
Of
our
the people.
space and the
Yeah.
people in the room. Like, we don't
You
want
know
you
what, that's
talking.
kind of right.
I
It's a
think,
good
I thought,
thing.
you know, I said, you are so right.
Mhm.
We will leave here, but but I need to go back and thank her for that because
Yeah.
she was protecting the energy
Mhm.
and the safety of this space of advocates so that people can stay, you know, we're talking about serious stuff. We're talking about lives. We're
Yeah.
talking about, you know, preserving lives and we're not talking about science and drugs and money and all those things. So,
It's almost like when we do our, community Zoom meetups, right?
right.
The first thing we tell everybody is,
Right,
this
this
is a safe space. It's
Yeah.
not being recorded. There's no one here from, anywhere other than, survivors and members, foundation that are here to just,
Help
find
you,
out what your
right,
needs are
right,
and
right,
help you.
right.
It
No,
makes a
It
difference.
makes
You
a
need
huge
those
difference.
spaces.
You need
Yeah.
those safe spaces
Yeah.
and, you know, so TNBC Foundation has 3,
We have 3 and then we have one together.
and then we have one together on the
Yes.
first Tuesday of the month, so we have lots of opportunity to talk about
Talk and
TNBC.
connect
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
and see
Yeah.
people, even though it's just on Zoom. you
Yeah.
Still get,
This is Zoom.
You can still
I
see
know, I know,
people.
I know.
you can still.
It's a
it
way
makes-
to, it's a great way to connect.
It
It is a really
Yeah.
great way to connect, really great way to connect. So we are, you know, we're gonna keep plugging away. I'm trying to think of, is there anything else that we learned today? Just that there's a lot of hope.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, I know, the other thing I was gonna bring up is, a lot of new companies.
Yes, like,
So-
like bio.
Biopharma,
bio-
biotech.
Biotech companies and
pharmas, yeah.
biopharma.
We met with 3 new biotech companies
Mhm.
that are
That's
here for the
amazing.
first time or second time.
Yeah.
And they don't even have drugs that are on the market yet.
But they're
But
gonna be
they're in
recruiting
trial.
soon
They're
and they
in-
have some very
Yes,
interesting, novel
right,
therapies that they want to,
Wow.
yes.
put out there. It was really exciting and interesting to hear about them.
Yeah, and I think that, like, I guess the older pharmaceutical companies, they did all the work through, and at some point they said, oh, we should talk to patients. And they brought us in as patient advocates to help them.
Mhm.
These new companies are saying, wait a minute, before we even put the drug into a trial, we want a patient advocate involved,
Yeah.
which is
They're
pretty
starting with
amazing.
the
So they're
patients, which is
starting with
great.
That's
us,
amazing.
starting with what we need, and that was totally amazing.
I loved it.
Totally cool to
And
see,
thank you
like,
for connecting me. with
I
who
know,
you
yeah.
know.
you know, connect-
Yes,
yeah.
yes, it was great.
Yeah, but we have to, so I feel like now we're like, you know, our work is being seen
Mhm.
and it's seen how important that we are to the
We are.
process. But they're asking us now, okay, what do you think about this? How should we approach patients? How should we design the trial so people, and so we're saying, make sure they have a way to get there. Make sure you pay for
Mhm.
transportation, make sure you pay for the childcare.
Make sure it's a reasonable number of times that they
Right,
have to visit the
right,
clinic.
I can't come every
Mm.
day.
Yeah.
Make sure you're taking care of my babies, make sure you're giving me a food allowance to eat something while I'm here. And so we can now help to build these trials so that we do take care of the creature comforts, and frankly,
Mhm.
they can afford to pay all this stuff, include it in their budget. Take care of your creature comforts, so then you can focus on doing the trial and the drugs and the therapy.
They were
But-
even asking, which I thought was really interesting and amazing, which sites? Where should they put their
Mm.
sites
Mhm.
so that they can get a diverse group of people
Right.
into the trial? Because if
Wow.
you're only using major medical centers,
Right,
You're not
Right.
getting
you're
this.
not getting a lot
Right,
of
you're not
people, you're
getting-
missing,
Yeah.
you're gonna miss the science.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna miss the science, and we had a lot of talk about that.
Yeah.
That's
It was
And,
really great.
And a couple years ago, we actually made a list of trial sites.
Mhm.
And so now we have to go back and revisit it because people are asking, can we have that list? You know, because Val and I worked really
Mhm.
hard
Oh, wow.
to find
That's a
where the
great
trials
Mhm.
should
Resource,
take,
wow.
you know, so
It is a great
I know, I
resource.
think I could sell that for some money. I don't know.
Good.
Think about that. Because everybody asked about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
That's
know,
valuable information.
well,
you
we
know?
know that 80% of our patients get their care at a community hospital.
Mhm.
And there aren't necessarily a lot of trials at
And
community
commu-
hospitals.
yeah.
So they're driving us across town in an Uber to the
Mhm.
Georgetowns, to the
Yeah.
University of Chicago, to all the, you know, the bigger education sites.
Sometimes, and sometimes they don't even mention
Sometimes they
the
don't.
clinical trial. So you have to, I mean,
You have to ask.
you have to ask for it. And that's why it's important that we have these conversations, right?
Yeah.
So people know to ask for them.
Yeah, yeah,
Also, I think what you've done in making clinical trials feel safe,
yeah,
especially to Black and brown women,
yeah,
is so important because it's, you feel like you're going to be poked and prodded. There's the,
right.
you know, the
You know that's gonna
stigma
happen, yeah.
And
associated
it's so
with that.
funny because I actually spoke with Dr. Lisa Carey earlier and I said, you know, trial sounds experimental.
Yes.
And she's like, I
The
don't.
word itself.
She's like, I don't look
Yeah.
at it like that because obviously she's
Yeah,
a
she's a
doctor,
doctor,
but
yeah.
that could be,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, the initial reaction, like, you want to try something on me?
Right.
Like, is it going to work?
Right, right.
Well, the language is so important, and that's one of the
Yes.
things we were talking about yesterday between palliative care
Mhm.
and supportive care. You change the word to supportive,
And it's a whole
and
different,
now,
it's a whole different
now I
conversation.
wanna
different
get- now I
ballgame.
wanna listen,
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, you know, when we launched, when we trial, we had a lot of debate over using the word trial.
Mm.
And we had a different tagline that we actually got rid of because it kind of felt like we were putting the burden on the patient.
Mhm.
And so we changed it to when we trial, I can't remember what the phrase was, but we talked a lot about, should we use this word? Could we change the word? And we decided there's too much out there in the world to change the word, but we can
Yeah.
change how we think about it. So how do we, you know, change how you think about palliative care? Think, you know,
It's like the word sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
For
Yeah,
for
for
our
the
yeah.
website.
yeah,
We're gonna
Yeah.
be talking to Morgan about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the great work that's, I can't wait to brag about it. But I've already been bragging about it all through SABCS. It's just, I'm so happy to have been a part of it with you all.
yeah,
And just, I know the long-term impact that will come
yeah.
from
We
this
hope so.
website.
Yeah,
We
we're
really
talking
hope
about,
so.
you know, 2 weeks ago we launched and we talked about it, our Black TNBC Sanctuary.org. So put that in the comments, Black TNBC Sanctuary.org. It's a website specifically for Black women with triple negative breast cancer. Not that anyone can have it as a resource, but that's what we built it for. And everything's translated into Spanish. So our Afro-Latina friends and patients can also have access to the information. And we worked really, really hard. Emily's had a lot of sleepless nights, right?
Emily is a goddess.
She's a goddess.
She's held us all together.
She has helped us all together.
I'll say that.
But to bring this information that's so important to our patients and to our community. So, you know, you guys, we have new customers in our business every day,
Mhm. Unfortunately,
unfortunately,
but
right?
the customers now can walk into a place that feels
Right.
warm and safe
Yes.
and that has literally every possible resource.
That they can need.
It's
yeah.
incredible.
Everything they need,
So proud of
anything
it.
they need, everything and anything they need
Yeah.
to deal with this disease. So that's going well and everybody wants to sponsor it. So I don't know, it's like, give us more information about it. But we probably had 4 meetings today where people are going to give us more information to put on the site.
That's
That's
amazing.
great.
So,
Do we have ABCD? Sure.
yes, we do.
We do,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm
we
pretty
do.
sure there are research, but I'll make sure.
Yeah.
I'll make sure.
It's on
there are
record
resources.
now.
Mhm.
It's on record
Yes.
now. And we try to bring in all of our convening partners from that original meeting
Mhm.
from Gilead. So if you want to be on our site or have something to say, let us know and we'll try to figure it out. But,
That's great.
but
Are we
it is-
answering the comments?
Yeah, like, say, do we have any comments? We generally would say thank you. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Regina. And Regina, did you try to get into maybe you tried to get into the meeting today, sorry. But we'll catch you next time. But no, this is you know, really important to think about. I'm trying to think of, was there anything else I should have made a list about today and yesterday? We did palliative care, we did the
I mean,
bit
we're
of
gonna
chaos.
be answering questions. We've been taking questions from the community and we're gonna be answering
Perfect.
questions
Yeah.
about the TNBC vaccine,
Mm.
about Signatera, circulating tumor DNA.
Explain that,
and
can you
all of
explain
that.
that? I can't explain that.
We're gonna be explaining it more
Tomorrow.
when we speak to the actual expert. I don't want to misspeak
No,
and put, any
But it is,
incorrect or
it is a
inaccurate
kind of
information out
test to
there.
identify another characteristic about your cancer.
Exactly. It's a
Mm.
diagnostic.
Yes,
It's a
yes,
diagnostic
yes,
tool,
yes.
that is a predictor of disease.
Right. Of
Future
occurrence,
disease.
Yeah,
yes.
and I
occurrence.
spoke with a couple of experts today about it, and what I'm learning so far is that it is collecting data, but the issue is that it's sort of like then it's the what do we do next? Now that once we have this
Mm.
information, and what kind of a toll is it going to take on someone if the news is not good?
Right.
And
right.
what is the risk versus reward on that kind of a test? So I think that's something that is going to be an ongoing conversation.
Because if you know you have a higher likelihood of something that you can't change,
Ah,
what do
What are
you
you
do
gonna
with
do?
that
What are you gonna
information?
do with
Are we
that
just
information?
causing people added
Turmoil,
stress
yeah.
that they might never have to experience a recurrence, but now they think they do?
mhm.
So we're gonna be talking about
Oh,
that
wow.
more.
Yeah, I
That's
know, it's,
amazing.
because, if some people feel really compelled to make a change in their behavior,
Mhm,
they
Mhm.
have a risk.
Right.
And some people don't want to know about it,
Mm.
Exactly.
but like,
But
Amanda,
shouldn't they have a choice?
but they should have a choice. They should have a choice. They should at least have enough information to be able to make a choice,
Mhm.
right? But Amanda, my daughter, she at 20, I'm at 38, 3 babies, she said, I'm cutting my boobs off. And she just had a prophylactic mastectomy in
Mhm.
February to protect herself. That's not everybody's choice, but
Mhm.
I think we all as mothers, Melissa and I talk this all the time, like our biggest fear is our daughter's getting this horrible disease. So
Mhm.
whatever we can do to not pass
Mhm.
it on.
Yeah, and like I always say, we don't know how to cure this disease, but we have a pretty good idea about how to
Of
prevent it.
prevention,
And that's
Yeah.
our biggest piece of ammunition that we have, especially with our next generation.
So that's something we're learning about too here.
Mhm.
We're going to be talking about that more in our interviews tomorrow, which we should say our organizations, as you can see back here, are collaborating on your guide to sabcs.org.
Oh, yes.
So you
only
can
put that in
find
the- yeah,
all
this
the
stuff.
information, all the interviews that we've been talking about.
Yeah,
There's going to be a blog written by, we already have one
Emily.
blog post written by Emily. We're going to have more. And then we have like great interviews on the ground and,
It's amazing.
yeah. So how many interviews do we have on the site so far?
So far we have, I think, 3 or 4 with 3 or 4 more coming and then more coming tomorrow. And then even after SABCS, we're going to be conducting interviews with our friends here, our medical oncologists and researchers. So after they've had some time to digest all the sessions,
Mm.
Dr. Mo too,
Dr.
right?
Mo.
Well, so Dr. Mo is going to be one of our interviews.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Can't do it without Dr. Mo in the
Right.
mix.
So your guide to sabcs.org, right?
.org, yes.
Yes, so check out our site. So as we do these interviews, when Melissa's doing so it's like a drab interviewing these people, I'm already interviewed. Am I on there?
Yes, don't you remember?
You interviewed me yesterday.
I know, it feels like a week
And
ago.
Morgan, you're getting
I'm
interviewed.
getting
getting
tomorrow.
interviewed
tomorrow.
so-
Excited.
So
A lot
yeah,
of great interviews.
so we'll keep updating
Yeah.
those interviews every day.
Mhm.
Emily's writing blogs almost every day, and we'll keep talking about it and keep the science going. I think the exhibit hall too today, we kind of breezed through there. So there's just, people are really, really on the case for new therapies.
Mhm.
So
I think there's that sense of urgency now that I
Yes.
haven't seen in a while.
yes, yes,
There's-
yes, yes.
did you
I do
sense
feel
it?
that. I feel like we've had a couple of good wins over the last few
Mhm,
years, like
for sure.
Keytruda and
Yes.
her too. But we haven't had a big win.
But I feel it.
I
Like
feel
it
like
coming,
something
like,
good is
Because all the
coming.
trials and, because
Yeah.
what I keep hearing is there's so much new research and there are so many trials
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
It's
eventually.
just a matter of time.
Matter of
before it
time before
comes
something
out.
hits. It's like you go to the casino, guys, and you wait for that big hit.
Keep putting the quarters
Keep
in.
going, keep going. A lot of people are putting quarters in the
Yeah.
slot
And
machine
seeing what, yeah.
to see what hits, but I think also, I feel like the pharma companies are doing a better job of working together.
Yes,
Mm.
there's a lot of collaboration.
Collaboration, and I always wonder, you always say this, that if every scientist who was working on TNBC went into one lab for 1 year,
Mhm.
broke down all the silos of the pharma companies and all worked together, what would happen?
Mhm.
Magic.
Yeah.
Magic would happen. And so I think they're starting to learn that and at least sharing the technology.
Mhm.
So we met with one company today who played a role in the COVID vaccine and they're like all about triple negative breast cancer.
Yeah.
We saw another company who played a big role with HIV
Mm.
and they're making a triple negative drug. So, you know, and I like to compare even a clinical trial. I like to talk about HIV. So when
Mhm.
HIV was around, you know, people were like dropping like flies.
Mhm.
All they had was a clinical trial.
Yeah,
There was no medicine. Like for COVID,
yeah.
we had no medicine. And so I wish people with breast cancer would have that level of fear and
That's
to do a
true.
clinical trial to motivate
Yeah.
you and
Mhm.
think, you know,
Because when you think about it, you're right, HIV, like when I was growing up, like that was the worst thing a
right,
person could
right,
get
right, right.
because it was a death sentence.
was a
And
death
look at it
sentence.
now, it's a chronic
It's
illness.
undetectable and it's
Yeah.
undetectable, but those people,
We're in a
those
trial.
patients were in a trial, they participated in a trial
right.
and they lived. And so we hope that breast cancer is seen in the same light, in the same light. So you guys, what do you think? Any more thoughts for today? And I think that, should we do a show on Sunday?
Sunday, when are we getting back?
I know, I know.
I don't even know, I swear, I'm not sure
We
what
don't
day
know
of
what
the week
day
it
it
is
is.
right now.
We don't know
I'm
what day.
not know my name on Sunday.
We don't know what day.
We're just here.
We will follow up though. We will follow up.
Sure.
And bring another episode about the outcomes of the week.
Exactly, we'll have more
We'll have more and more
information and
information
summaries.
and hopefully Mo can be on with us to help us interpret the
That would
data.
be amazing.
And maybe we can get another doc, maybe we can get
Absolutely.
Melissa Davis to
Oh,
come
she'd be
on.
great.
That would be
with
Not
us.
the
wonderful.
fake Melissa
Not the
Davis,
big
but the
Melissa
real
Davis.
Melissa Davis.
Melissa Berry. I know, so
Maybe
yeah.
I should go back to medical school.
Uh-huh.
Go to
And
medical school.
you guys also, Melissa Davis, our soundbite queen, you know, from our soundbite work. She's gonna be the keynote speaker tomorrow morning at 8:30.
Amazing.
And so we will do Facebook Live from her.
Oh, that's
Wonderful, that's
Great.
amazing.
I
From
saw
her
that, that's
speech, yeah,
great.
so we'll do Facebook Live from her speech, so it's tomorrow morning at 8:30 Central Time. So what is that?
9:30
9:30
Eastern.
Eastern
Eastern.
Time. And so if you want to tune in tomorrow morning, and then also our event that we did on navigation from Monday is on our Facebook page. You can find it there, Facebook Live. It's a little long. It's probably about an hour and a half of content. But
That's
you can
good
break it
content.
into
It's great.
pieces and hear our speakers and hear our patients talk about how important navigation is. So that's there. And we'll continue to post. And if we find something interesting, we'll go live any minute, but we will broadcast Melissa tomorrow. And she's going to talk about her Africa project and the Disparities Project. You know, she's the first Black woman to ever win a Cancer Grand Challenge.
Is that right?
Yes. And so the Cancer Grand Challenge is basically a big research study that's funded by NIH, our government, and Cancer Research of the UK.
Mm.
And what I've learned is the Cancer Research of the UK is comparable kind of to NIH, but all of their money comes from donors,
Mhm.
Really?
billions of dollars
Wow.
comes from donors. So this is a $25 million study that Melissa was awarded over 5 years, and we're studying pancreatic cancer, breast cancer, and prostate cancer in the US, Canada, the UK, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia, and Kenya.
Mhm.
And we do have if you look on our page, we do have our show Sambai Speaks, where we've now had 4 episodes talking about this research study, but Melissa's going to talk about it more tomorrow and talk about the impact that this research is going to make on the breast cancer ecosystem and the science that we're all looking at right now. So tune into that. It'll always be on our Facebook. If you can't make it in the morning, it'll be on there live. So,
Fantastic.
so
Great.
There's a lot going on here.
So
a lot
much.
going on.
It's
And
all,
so,
there is a lot of hope. I do feel, I definitely want to add that. There's, especially the interviews I've had, things are moving in the right direction, maybe not as fast as patients we want them to go, but definitely a lot of good research, a lot of good data, and just smarter treatment, right? Like,
Mhm.
Smarter.
and really keeping the whole person in mind and their families and
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah.
picture. I think that's really important.
Personalized, very
yeah,
Exactly.
personalized medicine and a lot of immunotherapy where
Mhm.
the drugs are using your own immune system to address the cancer. But I think now we've seen even just starting with Trodelvy a few years ago, how these little, I almost wanted to make a movie of how it works, but it's kind of like, it's like a little thing that grabs the cancer cells, right?
Yeah.
And now we have so much more of that happening, and people are using the history from even from the last 2 or 3 years to make new drugs. So I think I do see more working together or building on the latest technology or the latest
Yeah. The
development.
foundation.
The
for
foundation,
immunotherapy
yes.
is solid.
It's solid
And
and
we're
it's
just
working.
building on it, like you
Yeah.
said, it's great.
It's great. So I see more and more of that. So there's a lot of hope. If you are a patient right now and you are in active treatment, hold on, there's more stuff coming. But also we do have some more slots in our Care for Her program. If you go to, I'll put this in the comments, if you go to uniteforher.org/care for her, we do have about 30 more slots where you can get $2,000 worth of integrative care services and 6 months of free nurse navigation 24/7. So if you're in active treatment or you're within 18 months of treatment, that this program is still available to you. And if you're in active treatment or if you're metastatic and you're worried about the future, which we all are, or what's going to happen at your next progression, know that there's a lot of stuff coming, down the pike, a lot of trials coming. As we know more about the trials, we're going to talk about them. We also are going to dedicate the month of March.
Yes,
To
March is
TNBC.
TNBC Awareness Month,
Yes.
and 100% of the money that's raised from individuals goes to research. So
Yeah.
we're really proud of
We're
that.
really proud of that.
We've been able to fund some incredible research through that program.
Yeah, with your help.
Morgan,
with
yes.
Morgan's help.
With Morgan's help. In fact, one of the researchers that we have funded, over the years
Yeah.
is receiving a huge award, a huge honor, or has received it
Has
today at
received,
3:00.
yes.
She received it.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yes, Christina Curtis.
Christina Curtis,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
Well, we are hoping to hold off on that and interview
Okay.
her hopefully tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
hopefully.
So it will be hopefully on your guide to SABCS.org.
Great. So we'll put a link to that too from our Facebook page, so you'll know where to go.
Great
Mhm.
idea.
To
Yeah.
find that, and it's also here in the chat. But yeah, so just keep looking at our social media,
Mhm.
and ours is at touchbbca.org, or it's at touchbbca.
At TNBC Foundation.
Cancerfashionista.com.
So all of our stuff is going to be there.
At AACR.
Our stuff is going to be there, so keep looking out. And if you are in need of a trial, sit tight, because we're going to come home with a lot of trials to participate in.
Mhm.
And I'm not a doctor, I just sort of play
One on
some
TV.
one on
Play
TV.
one on TV.
But if you are under 40 and you have triple negative breast cancer, a trial is your best outcome, your best opportunity. It's like, as I say all the time, it's like you have the iPhone 15 right now. It's like having the iPhone 20,
It's a great analogy.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And it's something that you can't get yet, but you can. And it's a drug of tomorrow that you can get today. So
Mhm.
it's an opportunity for the best treatment you can get. And you're going to get, there is no sugar pill.
No,
There's no, you're not going to,
you'll at least get the standard of care.
yes.
Yeah.
You'll never get less than
You'll
that.
never get less than what you can get now. So why not get that and something better in a trial?
Yeah.
So if Mo were here, she would say, I hope this has been relatable, reliable, and real, as we do every week on blackdoctor.org. We're grateful to you, blackdoctor.org, for the platform. We're grateful to our sponsors and our partners. We're grateful to my friends. Thank you.
We're
Love
so
you
happy
guys
to
so
do this
much.
together.
I know, love you guys
Yes.
so
We're
much.
this is-
And I know, and have like,
Yeah.
and all this brain power in this building, we're gonna try to tap into it and bring it to you. And I'm not sure what's happening next week. Oh, I know, next week is our really cool show that we do every year before Christmas. Faith and fear can't live in the same house.
I
Mhm.
love that.
That's great.
That's
So
a
we
great
have
idea.
some of our great spiritual, crazy people on the Zoom talking about faith and how important it is to
It's beautiful. I love
Yes.
that.
find your faith before with the holidays, but keep the faith. So we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
having us.
you.
Bless you,
Rest
love.
of us.
Let's see.
Bless you, love. Bless you, love. Take care. Bye.
Bye.